All right. Welcome. Crown Council Live. Grateful to be here. Steve, welcome.
Good day. What's up, Stu?
What's up? So this is our Crown Council Live stream. We're grateful to have everyone joining us live. If you're joining us live or watching us recorded, it's okay either way. If you're watching live, you can always send in some questions or chat to us, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or the Crown Council website. However you want to connect with us, it's fun. So I'm enjoying putting together our little live program. It's cool to connect with all these people in the membership, to have them share and talk, and we have an outstanding date, Steve. Every week here
we do right here. We'll be here. We will be here.
That's right. Except next week, Steve and I will both be on camp outs with younger.
We will.
Where are you going? You're going to Colorado.
So Boy Scout camp in Colorado.
Very good. And
anybody who wants to come is welcome.
And that's a drive for you, right? You're driving
a little bit of a hike from Dallas, Texas.
That is a hike. Yeah.
But
so I'm
a welcome one into higher elevation and cooler weather.
That's right. That is true. We're going south, and I'm going with a group of boys, just central Utah. Ooh, I hope that goes good.
Yeah.
Not a hot spot.
Easier for you than me.
So good. Hey, I wanted to recap Young Dentist program last week. Real fun to have 50 new young dentists of the Crown Council join us here in Salt Lake City. They came so awesome. We did a smile design case for Dr. Chase Larson, Dr. David Hornbrook, and Utah Valley Dental Lab. Did a cosmetic case live, and not only was it live, but it was also the smile was donated by Utah Valley Dental Lab. Chase and David shared obviously their wisdom, their time, their expertise to train these new 50 young docs. And what a great outcome. Our patient got emotional when he saw his smile. It reminded me how cool this profession is and how fun it is. It was a great weekend.
Result. And we'll have a clip of that, right, Stu, on a later broadcast. Great.
We will. Yeah, we made a little highlight video of the weekend and how it works, because he's coming back. Our patient will come back in July, where they'll put the final finished smile on. So we'll record that and send it.
And I understand applications for the class of 2023 are now, that's now open, right?
It's not only open, it is filling. So we're filling up. There's lots of people coming on, and anyway, it's good. It's a
best way to register for that or reply is
so easy. So on crowncouncil.com, let's go there. Sharing my screen. On crowncouncil.com, this is the home page. Right up here, Young Dentist Program. If you click here, it will show all the details. A quick little highlight video. What we do, some testimonies of past participants, and then the application. Very easy. So we'll take everybody now. We're taking applications and registration. So yeah, that's the easiest way, or just call me at the Crown Council office.
So any dentist 5 years or less out of school is kind of the general parameter. Doesn't really matter what practice type or where they are or how they practice. So it is a great group. Awesome, amazing experience to have at that stage of your career.
Yeah, and the funnest part for them is kind of the same idea behind this live broadcast, which was they are now connected with each other, a great community of young doctors who all have similar goals and similar aspirations to be, the next great generation of dental leaders in this country. So it was fun to get them together to feel that energy, that power of them wanting to do that. So
birds of a feather flock together.
I've heard that. That's
yes, they do. Good place to start.
Any other housekeeping, Steve, for you? We want to talk at all about insurance.
A lot of things on the radar. One tomorrow, right. No More Hygiene Online. And that's a live virtual course with Dr. Tommy Neighbors and his whole hygiene team, the TOPS team, to totally revolutionize your hygiene effort in your practice. And because it's a virtual course, there's plenty of room.
Run out
of room in a virtual course. So nomorehygiene.com will take you to the information on that. But we've got a big group from all over the country attending that, as well as, we announced the Should I Be Insurance Free special course that we're doing. That's a big issue that a lot of practices are dealing with right now, the relationship with insurance. So that's at totalpatientservice.com in the courses section. That's going to be a very, very special course with years and years of working with practices that have gone through that process of figuring out their relationship with insurance. The TOPS coaching team has put together a very detailed course that will walk any practice through the decision-making process, the strategy, and then the customized solution for your practice. Different for everybody. Right. There's no one answer that fits every practice. And you'll come out on the other end with something that's a proven process that'll help you move forward in a profitable, productive way. So that's at totalpatientservice.com in the courses section. And that's coming up quick. Right. This one will be coming up the first weekend of August. There's a lot of demand for this. It's a very, very timely topic. So
nice. Very good. Great. One more I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of. Steve and I have started to record the Skill of the Weeks.
Yes, we have.
And
New
format. So the Skill of the Weeks are found in the Premium Member Hub. So if you are a full member of Crown Council, you go to Premium Member Hub, and the latest or newest one is right here. So last week we released this new Mentor of the Month. Information on the insurance-free seminar, and then our new Skill of the Week. So always here on the Premium Member Hub, the new stuff. And then if you miss it, Content Archive has all of the content that you could possibly imagine here for training culture in your team. So
everything to build a culture of success in your practice.
Yes, sir. Hey, well, we've got celebrity coming in first. So if she's there, I hope she's here. Let's ask DJ. I think she's. We don't quite know who. Dawn from Mortensen Family Dental, we hope, is in the waiting room, although her name on Zoom doesn't say that. So we'll see if it's her when we let this person in to the live stream.
We may have the Council live crasher.
A hacker that's found the link. But Dawn, she works for Mortensen Family Dental Practice, and I'll let her explain a little bit more about what she does. But more so than anything, she is in charge of running Smiles for Life for this group practice. And what an incredible undertaking, Dawn. Hey,
how are you?
We didn't know if it was going to be you. Your name is labeled Luke, so we were like, well, here comes Luke. Luke's coming in.
That's probably my son linked up somehow. That's
That's fun. There it is. Now it says Dawn. Very good. We were just doing a brief introduction of your celebrity status amongst the Smiles for Life Hall of Fame. And we wanted to get, will you tell us just briefly what you do for Mortensen Family Dental Practices in your role as Smiles for Life guru? I don't even know what do we call you?
Well, they call me the lead charity champion here.
There it is.
That's what they call me. So
that's awesome.
So basically what I do is I work with our 35 general practices here in Louisville, Kentucky, as well as the other regions that we have within Mortensen Dental Partners to help them cultivate our culture of doing good here in our community and really assist the teams into understanding what Crown Council is, understanding what Smiles for Life is, understanding how important it is for us to participate, and just guide them through the process of introducing it to their own teams. So
Very
that's
cool.
They do all
Dawn, one of the things that I know you're a huge fan of, and it's in your title, lead charity champion. and I know that you're the head woman in charge. You're the lead charity champion, and one of the things you do is build a charity champion in all the practices that you work with. Can you characterize what that role is? Who is a charity champion, and what do they do in the practice?
Yeah, I would be happy to. So, with Sue Mortensen, as you know, she kind of turned over that role to me as she and Dr. Wayne made their transition into retirement. And what we talked about is every office needs that person in their practice who is very, very passionate about doing good and who has such a spirit about them that they will lead others into that effort as well. What we found is as we continue to grow and acquire and have de novo practices, we had to cultivate that spirit of doing good. And to have that person in your practice who is the cheerleader, the charity champion, arranges the whitening order, really talks daily about the efforts that you're going to make to support the campaign. All of the team rallies around that person and gets involved. And so basically they're the cheerleader of the practice, the person that's really going to take the lead in this effort.
I love that.
And I love the way you talk about it, because I know that organization-wide, you've adopted the whole doing good philosophy. You don't give back, you do good, right?
Yes, we
do. Big difference. And in that role, can you just share with us other things that the charity champion does? Because they kind of own that piece of the practice strategy of doing good. In addition to the Smiles for Life Foundation whitening campaign, what else does a charity champion do?
So the way that it works is before the campaign begins every year, because we do have office changes, personnel changes, just like everyone else, we send out a call to action for someone in the practice to take on the role of charity champion. Once that charity champion has been decided, we join a kickoff call where I really just present again and again the opportunity that Smiles for Life has for doing good in our own communities. As the charity champion in each practice, they do place the order for whitening, and then each team will arrange a team event or 2 or 3. Some are very, very motivated. We have volleyball tournaments. We have golf scrambles. We have cornhole tournaments. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even our support team, who doesn't have the opportunity to even do one, raffles and tournaments and, anything that they can do to be engaged. We had a pickleball tournament recently. That was really fun. And an arcade tournament, which I wasn't able to attend because I can't attend them all, but I heard that was good fun as well. Every month, our teams for the practices, to keep it a little bit challenging and a little competitive spirit, we have our teams rewarded with a team lunch if they are the top fundraiser for the month. And the charity champion also has their t-shirt. They're always advertising that they're the charity champion. And they get a $25 gift card to whatever of their choice. Just makes it fun. They do little TikTok challenge videos towards each other just to keep the spirit really going. They're super competitive here.
I love that. And this is a year-round thing. I mean, the charity champion is doing this year-round. It's not just for the whitening campaign, but it's they're building up the momentum.
Yeah, this starts. Yeah.
Opportunity.
Yeah, they start well before the campaign actually starts, gearing up on our social media pages, letting our patients know the campaign. Our patients in our community, they wait for this campaign because they know it's coming. And to know money to receive their whitening is going, directly to charity, that's what they want. Our patients really thrive on being a part of this as well, which has been super fun and something we didn't, I don't think, actually realize was going to be the product of that as well. So.
Yeah. And I love your event idea. So much of everything. And I love this just because I know where this originated. Sue Mortensen is the original charity champion. And just, I remember years ago going to the chili dog festival that you guys used to have. And it was a huge event. Yeah, I mean, huge. And now doing events, at each practice location and just seeing the next generation of that is awesome.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Great. Yeah.
Dawn, if you were to give one piece of advice to, say, a brand new starting Smiles for Life practice this year, what would you tell them? What would kind of some keys to success?
Yeah, what I would tell them is honestly, you find that person that really wants to do good. I do think that that's super important. I was kind of, I sent out a did you know sheet last year to our teams. And within the first 18 years of the campaign, our teams raised over $1.3 million. In the last 5 years, we've raised over 1.1 since we introduced Charity Champion. So I do think having that person, because let's be honest, we're all super busy caring for our patients, taking care of each other, really making sure that our efforts are involved in dentistry. And so when you get your eye off what you're doing to do good, nobody takes the lead. So when you have that person who really engages the whole team, that's what I would recommend. You pick your person that's going to engage the whole team, make yourself a goal. I mean, I think, even if you started with, let's raise $1,000, one of our regions this year, their goal was $10,000. Our summit region very quickly surpassed $10,000 and moved it to they reached it on June 1st. And so I'm like, what's your next goal? What's your next having that goal and a really good spirit, join together and find that charity that you want to support and that you want to make an effort to improve children's lives as well, is given, to each other.
Fantastic.
Well, you guys got.
If you're the lead charity champion, then Stu and I are the biggest fans.
Yes, we are. You guys
year after year. It's so great. I can't thank you enough. It's really great.
Well, I wanted to share real quick, if we can share my screen here. So Mortensen Family Dental Group, top donations. But the fun part is if we scroll down just a little, all of your practices that now, they're all here just throughout all the top donations, which is so fun to see. You guys just have it dialed and are the best examples to everybody on how to make this not only raise money, but to make it great for your teams and patients. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I know Dr. Wayne and Sue, they created this, and we want to be part of this legacy forever. So, for allowing us to be part of it.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya.
That's check my math, Steve. That's like $2.5 million donated to Smiles for Life. That's incredible.
I love the way, the origin of all this. And I'd love to have him on here sometime, but Sue Mortensen, man, is the ultimate promoter. She is the original heartbeat of that practice that started as a 2-chair, second-story walk-up practice in a suburb of Louisville, Kentucky. And, they are a dominating force in that community and many others around. It's cool to see that whole deal, but just passionate about doing good, which is just so much a part of a culture of success, not just within the practice, but in the community. It's a great example. Love the charity champion idea. It's one of the keys to success of, that piece of the practice. So if you don't have a charity champion in your practice that is leading the way for the Smiles for Life whitening campaign or any other things that you do, it's one of the secrets of success is to have somebody who owns that and is on it every day.
Yeah. And a few things she didn't share that charity champion can do is, I know those Mortensen family practice charity champions, they coordinate which local charity that they're going to give to. They communicate not only how that charity will help them on social media, but also getting that local charity to promote new patients to come into the practice. She mentioned ordering the whitening. That's a huge one. Like as silly as it sounds, that is a big problem sometimes with offices doing Smiles for Life is we can't get whitening instantly to a practice. Like they have to be 2 or 3 weeks ahead. So charity champions constantly looking at that, ordering t-shirts, hats, marketing supplies. The dentist is not going to do that. It has to be this charity champion. And it all came from them. I mean, our idea for a charity champion it's not ours. We're copying the genius of Dawn and her team. So
that is the beauty of the Crown Council community, is a lot of great ideas that when they get shared like this, just raises the success of the whole group. So love it.
All right. We're waiting on our next guest. They're not in the, they're not in the waiting room yet, which is still good. We're going to bring in Lincoln Parker and his team. They are a newer upper level Smiles for Life team. So right now they're sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're 10th with $13,500. Lincoln Parker and Tyler Hales. We're hopefully going to have Lincoln in and maybe one of his team members. I just texted him. He said, we're ready to join. We're gonna make it great. So hopefully he's joining us here any second. When I get the word from DJ that they're in the waiting room, we'll bring him in. So anyways,
while we're doing that, Stu, I'll just mention is, we're now second week of June, and we're coming in for a landing for the 2022, campaign. And it is a great time as we're kind of wrapping things up for this year's campaign, is really sit down, do it. What we all know is a SWOT analysis. This is something we teach at Total Immersion at TOPS is, what worked, what did we learn, what do we want it to look like next year? And, what are the things we can really take advantage of? And so this is a year-round effort. It's not just, March through June. The best practices make it a year-round effort where they're, working with the local charity. They're figuring out how they're going to promote it. And it's a year-round effort. So now's a good time to regroup and analyze and put the plan together moving forward.
Yeah, it really does not work well if when your marketing box arrives in February, you say, hey, let's do this. There's so many pieces that make it, for when I think about the teams that have done it well, I think about the fact that not only do they raise an incredible amount of money, but they also make it a team building experience, like setting the goals together, picking that charity together, learning how to keep the patients that come to the practice through Smiles for Life. Like there's a lot of new patients that come. Well, what are we going to do when they join the practice for their first time for Smiles for Life that makes them want to come back to be part of this? And that does not happen just like by happenstance. I mean, the teams that plan and prepare for Smiles for Life are the ones that get the most out of it. And you're right, year-round project to make sure it works. We're actually working on a bit of a 12-month plan for Smiles for Life, a checklist of what you can be doing each month to make sure that it works and is a good experience for your team. So, all right, I'm hearing from our producer that they've got to quit Zoom, and I gave them the link again, but they're not in the waiting room. So we might want to just, we're going to move on. Steve, maybe you could introduce, we're going to be bringing in a guest from Direct Diagnostics. His name is Peter Maroon. He's a resource partner he's a little more than a resource partner considering how he interacts with us through the No More Hygiene courses, but maybe you could introduce that idea, who they are, and maybe some history behind direct diagnostics.
Yeah. So I'll give you just a quick of the backstory. One of my, and I'll say our mentors is Dr. Tom Neighbors, not to be confused with Dr. Tommy Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
We also refer to him as Dr. Tom Senior. But he and Tommy, father and son team, are really the fathers, if you will, of what's called salivary diagnostics. They were the founders, brought salivary diagnostics to the United States years ago. First ones to do it. They gave dental practices the ability to diagnose through laboratory testing what was actually going on in the mouth. So what types of bacteria were actually in patients' mouths. And as the science has compounded over the years, we now know, and Peter can speak a lot more specific to this, but we now know there's 11 bacteria that are associated with, linked to periodontal disease, the bad guys. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of bacteria, some good, some bad, but there's 11 that have been identified. And there are 2 out of those 11 that are what we refer to as the band conductors, which is they're the two lethal bacteria that if those are kept under control, then the rest kind of fall in line. If those get out of control, then they create not only all kinds of periodontal problems, but they're now been proven to be causal to all kinds of other health issues. So Direct Diagnostics is a salivary diagnostics company. Dr. Tom Neighbors is involved as the clinical director at Direct Diagnostics, and they focus on the bad guys. So helping practices with an easy way to diagnose the bad bacteria so that then you can act and treat it with the goal ultimately of curing periodontal disease, which is, I'd say in the grand scheme of things, a relatively new thought that periodontal disease can actually be cured, not just managed, but it can be eliminated. So they are a leader in that field of helping practices identify, diagnose, and cure periodontal disease.
Is this a new science, Steve? I know Peter will probably dig into it, but I know that we used to have a group or tests that could do this as part of the No More Hygiene group. What kind of makes Direct Diagnostics different from what we've had in the past?
Yeah, so the science that they've developed is focused, and I'll let Peter talk about this, is we call it the high 5. So it's really the 5 top, bacteria that are the most, I'd say, important, most linked to periodontal disease. So they've developed a rapid test that enables practices to get the information back quickly, focus on the areas that really matter, and then helping with the diagnosis and then what you can do to cure it, to eliminate, get the bacteria, what we call under threshold, so that it's in, everything is a balance. We get it under threshold so that it is under control and not causing severe problems.
Yeah. When I've attended the No More Hygiene courses, it is an incredible school of thought to attend as a patient and to think about what is being taught there, that I am going to a dental practice who, yes, are treating my teeth, but are more concerned about me and my health. And I know I've heard you talk about this before, but the dentist office has actually created an incredible system for patient care, in that it's like getting an oil change. Somehow dentists have found a system to get people consistently into the practice. And when that happens, using the tools that are given to a dental practice to check on whole health, it's a really exciting step forward for dentistry in that we're not just treating teeth. We're actually helping and checking and working on a system that is helping your entire body, your entire health. It's not about the teeth, I guess, is what we say, right?
Right. There's a body. There is a body. We've said this for decades. There is a body attached to the teeth. There's a person attached to it. And the science keeps pointing back to that more and more every day, that there's so much here that is indicative of what's going on in whole health. So dentistry, yes, number one frontline healthcare profession that there is. More of America goes to the dentist more frequently than any other healthcare practitioner, short of somebody having a chronic issue where they're going to see a specialist for a limited period of time. We're talking about the vast majority of America is seeing their dentist at least 2 times a year, and many more. And so dentistry has a bigger influence today on more of Americans' health than any other healthcare practitioner. So it's an exciting place to be. And especially because we have diagnostics like this that can address whole health issues, which we know people are more and more interested in having that discussion today than they ever have. They want to know how it's all connected and what they can do to stay healthy, not just get healthy.
Nice. All right, let's let Peter in. He's waiting for us, so we'll let him into the chat here, into our live stream, and we'll dig in a little bit about his science and what he does for direct diagnostics. I wrote down some of the stats from his website. I don't know if he'll share them, but I certainly want to share them as he's coming in. If you didn't know some of the statistics about these things, this is just from Direct Diagnostics website. 50% of heart attacks and strokes triggered by oral pathogens. Wow. 70% more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease in people who suffer from gum disease for more than 10 years. Hey, Peter, I'm just reading some stats. Oh, look, he's got them up.
Look, I got them up there in my background.
I wrote 7 times increased risk of adverse pregnancy outcomes, including premature birth and low birth weight. And 95% of Americans with diabetes also have periodontal disease. That is just, I mean, we are talking about whole health, Peter, before you got on, and how fun your tools are to help a patient really get healthy beyond just checking teeth. So grateful for you. Thanks for spending the time to come in.
Peter, who's the dude standing behind you? Who is
I don't know. I can't figure it out, but he's a lot better looking than I am. That's for sure.
Good. So Peter, we just, I gave a little bit of the background of, the long relationship I've had with Dr. Tom Neighbors and Tommy, and, being the fathers of oral salivary diagnostics in America. And kind of, this is now the next gen, if you will, of testing and diagnostics. So maybe you could give just a quick background on the significance of the HR5. So that's the name of the test, and give us a little bit of background on where HR5 came from. What does it mean? Perfect.
Hey, I don't know if you have Stuart, but Dr. Tom Neighbors, I think, is waiting to get in here too. So
is he?
Yeah.
We've got someone in the waiting room called OMX0663.
Yeah, that's him.
Is that him? Okay.
Yeah.
That would be him.
Hey, DJ, our producer will let him in. That's great.
Fantastic. But while he's coming in, I can answer that question. So HR5 is basically the next generation of salivary diagnostics, right? So it's the latest and greatest in qPCR technology. We are focused on the 5 most high-risk pathogens in the mouth, which is the AA, PG, TD, TF, and FN. And some really, really exciting news is that we just had a third-party verification on our test and on our accuracy and sensitivity with Yale University School of Medicine. And they confirmed that our test is at 10 copies of DNA on AA and PG at 100%, and also at 100 copies of DNA on TD, TF, and FN at 100% as well. So there is no other test in the marketplace that is as accurate and is as sensitive as we are. So we're bringing the latest and greatest technology in salivary diagnostics, and we actually have that. And obviously, Dr. Neighbors the the brains behind that. So really exciting news, and we're excited to be in the industry and doing this and helping our patients. And as Stuart, you mentioned before, with all the stats of periodontal disease and how their risk factors and systemic disease with heart attack, stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's, and so on, the list grows. So, but hopefully that answered your question, Steve, and Tom is here as well. So,
Dr. Neighbors,
welcome.
Hi there, Brother Anderson.
Good to see you. I don't know if you were listening before you came in, but I gave the whole history background.
I didn't hear that. No, thank you. Well, you always
diagnostics. For maybe those that need a quick refresher course in biology, it may have been a few years they went through this. Peter, you're throwing around those initials of bacteria like, man, you were born in a petri dish, dude.
So, Tom, my background is probiotics too, so I've been around those strains for a while. But
so, Dr. Neighbors, maybe you could just spend a minute and give the background on what we know now, because this is relatively recent. What we know now about AA and PG.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's very interesting. And thank you guys for having us on at this particular time. It's always exciting for us to have an opportunity to speak about what we're passionate about. And I've been passionate about this particular subject for 40 years out of my 54. And we're finally kind of getting it nailed down. So back in 2006, a 10-year longitudinal study was published from Forsyth, which is now Harvard. And they indicated that there were approximately 11 of the now known 770 different species and billions of microorganisms in the mouth. And we were looking at 11 based on a 10-year longitudinal trial, and they were rated high risk, meaning we knew that they caused alveolar bone loss. Moderate risk, we weren't so sure because the data didn't really make it very clear that those by themselves caused alveolar bone loss. And then low risk, and the data was even less severe relative to those. But when we first introduced our first test, we used all 11, and we indicated that high risk, moderate risk, and low risk. Since that time, from 2006, when that was published, there's been ongoing microbiological studies relative to the importance of this whole spectrum. And a recent article was written in 2021, published in the Journal of Medical Microbiology, which I love because there's no reason there to be affected by our profession. And so what they did, they looked at 61 years of microbiological testing, and based on the pathogenicity and their ability to cause disease, but both now and in the mouth, the medical microbiology report said, now we really only need to worry about 5. And the reason that we do, and as Pete said, AA, PG, TF, TD, and FN, is because of their ability to cause systemic inflammation. And when we turn on chronic systemic inflammation, that what the body is trying to do is kill anything that is there that's trying to hurt us. And if it can't kill it all, then it just stays running 24/7. You see what I'm saying there? And so that's detrimental to every system when you have your immune system turned on high. And the word inflammation simply means setting on fire. So when we set our body on fire, we're setting our vascular system on fire. We're setting every system on fire based on the inflammatory mechanisms that are there. That's not good for the brain. It's not good for the heart. It's not good for the circulatory system. But even as we look at these 5, there are 2 that are true exogenous pathogens, meaning they don't belong in the mouth ever. They come from a different source. They have to come from another individual that's infected that infects someone else. And as an example, a mom that has AA or PG will infect the children. A dad will infect the mom, and vice versa, because we have this horizontal transfer. And the reason we keep going back to AA and PG is because their ability to do the setting on fire mechanism differently than all the rest of them. And we now know that you will have advanced periodontal disease with AA and PG regardless of time, meaning that it might not happen today, but it's going to happen sometime in the future. And the other thing about that is that we know that they transfer their virulence to the others, meaning that when they are together in this biofilm matrix that is there, AA and PG share, without breaking the cell membrane, their potential to cause disease to the other members of the biofilm community. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So if we have a community of individuals that are all together, okay, Stuart, I see him shaking. Yeah. So let's say we take an individual. Let's say we have a community meeting, and there's one person there that smokes, and nobody else smokes, but he talks that other person into everybody smoking. So everybody starts smoking. Well, the influence of that one person now has affected every person in that house. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, that's what PG and AA do. They're the smokers, if you would.
That's crazy.
They share their cigarette and their bad habits with all the rest of them.
Real jerks.
Real jerks.
They're big social media influencers in the bacteria.
Influencers.
Exactly right. That's a good way to put it. Good social media. And what we have found is when we eliminate those, and we can do that, we know how to do that. We have an excellent educational program that is, and you all have an educational program as well. And so we are using No More Hygiene. We're using our methods too, which are identical to No More Hygiene, to teach people how to test for these and to eliminate them and thus resolve inflammation. When we resolve inflammation, people get well.
Love it. So I think that's one of the biggest breakthroughs in what we know now is we've gone from 11 and narrowed it down now. Man, it's down to, I mean, they're all an issue, but those two, if you can identify and keep those two under control, it's a positive domino effect on whole health.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dr. Neighbors, forgive my ignorance, but why for so long? Why is it now just happening? Like why for so long have people gone to the dentist with periodontal disease and they leave and the hygiene and whatever, and they're just like, hey, see you later. Sorry about that. Like, can't do anything for you. Can you explain that process, why that's happened?
I can, and been through the process, and that is the university settings typically around this scientific effort are light years behind the science. They have, let's say, every dental school, every medical school then has a protocol that they teach in every particular area. And the periodontology era of what we're doing today actually began with the periodontal probe in 1936. And I say we have a profession that's lost in 1936. See, the periodontal probe only measures damage. It doesn't measure causation. And so when we look at the world of microbiology, in other words, the scientists have been promoting testing, Stuart, for over 20 years. It took technology to get us to the point where we are today, for one thing, Stuart. So as an example, we didn't have enough technology to identify everything we're talking about today until around 2006 or early 2000s. You see what I'm saying? So we're still new in this world of understanding causation. We assumed that everybody that had periodontitis or gingivitis had the same biofilm mix. And so we saw pictures of these. We saw how they grew. And so we assumed that it was a generalized or a non-specific infection. And it took the Harvards of the world 10 years to come up with the 11. And now it's taken the rest of the world from 2006 to 21 to actually recognize this gene transfer mechanism using technology. And so the schools are not teaching this kind of technology, nor are they teaching them how to use this kind of technology. But the microbiologists of the world, the true scientists of this community, have been pushing this now for at least 15 years, that every practice should be testing. So it's a great question. The answer really centers around the educational process, and for our educators to step to the plate and recognize that today we understand causation and we can treat these based on cause, and we can cure most periodontal diseases now.
Say that again, Dr. Neighbors.
Yes. Yeah. We can cure most periodontal diseases today if we know what's causing it. It's any other. I mean, if any other disease had a cause, what would we be looking for?
The cure, 100%.
Sure. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah. And the problem that we have is that we are treating everybody the same way as if they had different infections, ending up with different results. And so now we know we can achieve an end result that we've never been able to achieve before. So that's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
Steve,
So good.
Steve, in your experience with dental practices, what is the barrier then that prevents this from just overtaking all of the hygiene world?
Habit. Just
Yep.
habit. We keep doing what we've always done, which is one, I mean, it would be great, number one, if we could get every practice in America using the instrument that was released in 1936. It would be nice if everybody used that the proper way for starters to measure loss.
Yeah. Yes.
But now that's late to the game.
Right.
But it really is habit. We keep doing what we do what we do because we've always done it.
Right.
And this is a different mindset to say we don't need to just look at effect and damage. We need to look at cause. What's causing it?
Absolutely. Let me add a little more flavor to that. And I think you're exactly right. The other issue there, Stuart, are manufacturers. In other words, those that are producing the products and those that are producing the lasers and those that are producing the medications. And so what they are saying is our medication will work, our laser will work. You see what I'm saying? And therefore we get caught up in buying the instrumentation and then using the instrumentation to assume that we've achieved an end result. And the last thing I would say, really based on what Steve is saying there, is we've been comfortable with average. And what do I mean by that? Would I ever want to go to an average physician and for him to say, well, you may be well, and you might not be, I think you're okay, I'm not going to run any tests. So we don't do that in any other aspect of dentistry. We want to be excellent in restorative care. We want to be excellent in cosmetic care. We want to be excellent in implant and in airway. You hear what I'm saying? But in periodontal, we've been led to believe we can't cure these diseases. And so it's okay if we don't cure them. Isn't that right, Steve?
And it creeps into the psyche when you have phrases that keep getting repeated over and over and over again, like once a 4910, always a 4910.
There you go.
Leads you to believe that it's uncurable and we just maintain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. So, Dr. Neighbors,
yes.
You are always, I always learn something every time I talk to you.
Thank you.
I know you have lived with this your entire career and the pioneer in this. And I always appreciate it when you share this and help get the word out. It's an exciting time. I know when you first started down this path years and years ago, I don't think you even imagined that we would be where we are today in terms of diagnostics and what we're able to tell. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. Interesting too, Stuart. I had met Steve and he had invited Tommy and I to one of the Crown Council meetings many years ago. And so we started our first company. I invited him to see what we were doing. So I flew to Dallas and we met at a Dallas hotel to show what we were doing. You remember that, Steve? And Steve,
I remember it. I had to fake it, Tom, that I knew what you were talking about. I just nodded my head. I had to go back and start looking up words in the dictionary. Some idea of what you were talking about. I just knew you were really smart. That's what I
always appreciate that, though. I mean, he hung in there, and we talked for several hours about what we were doing, and he really got the full picture of what we were trying to do. So Steve has been a big advocate of improving periodontal health and improving practices like you have, Stuart, for many, many years. And I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate literally the work you've done, Steve, over the years and the Crown Council. It's amazing the amount of money y'all have raised for good causes. And when I talk to people about good work and good people in dentistry, I always think of you guys. I really do. I appreciate all that y'all do.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Peter, why don't you share with everybody if they have not engaged in salivary diagnostics or have not used the HR5 test, what's the easiest way to get started?
So that's a great question, and we make it very, very easy for an office or a clinic to get started. So we'll as Dr. Tom Navis said, we'll work with them from start to finish. They're under no obligation whatsoever to get started with us. We actually want them to try us out before they actually even start paying us, right? So we'll have them sign up an onboarding form with no obligation, just some patient demographic or office demographic information. They sign up. They tell us how many team members they have. We'll test the team for free, right? That's part of our training process. We'll walk them through the online portal, get those kits out to them, let them test themselves, let them set up a coaching with our trainers and educational team, and we'll work with them on going over, the testing, how to take the samples, how to store the samples, how to ship the samples, and then what to do after the results come in, right? And then they go through this whole process, and then once they start testing patients, then they'll start, paying us, right? So we'll walk them through the whole process, get their feet wet, and then let them decide whether or not they want to move forward. And it's been working out really well for us, so that's been great. And just to recap on what Dr. Neighbor said as well. So when we talk about AA and PG and detecting those, as I said at the beginning, we have the most accurate and sensitive test on the marketplace with the latest in that technology. So we're second to none. I mean, it's a great technology. We're looking forward to, having those offices come on board with us and stop guessing and start testing. And that's another one of our phrases. So stop guessing and start testing. We make it easy for you, and we work with you and your protocols to get great results. So
love it. Best way to contact you to get started, Peter?
Just I think I have all that contact information on the Crown Council resource partner page. Perfect. Yeah, so there's my direct line, our website address. I believe we have the direct link to the onboarding form for them to get started. And again, just to try us out and test us out. So
if you go to crowncouncil.com, go to the premium member hub, or to go to the resource partner hub, and it's direct diagnostics, and all of the information is there. So Peter, I love your recommendation that the first step is everybody on the team get tested. There is nothing like looking at your own results to get a feel for what this really is. And if anybody ought to be walking the talk, it's the whole dental team. So
exactly.
You can't preach something that you haven't done any better than you can go back to something you've never been. So everybody needs to be tested first so that you can have that experience and speak intelligently about it to your patients.
Absolutely right.
Next week, Steve, let's bring on a few offices in the next coming weeks that are using this. I think it'd be fun to hear how this has changed, how they interact with patients, and maybe some tricks or tips on how they're using the products. And I especially love, Steve, when you're going to share in the next couple of weeks, what happens when these negative test results come back? Because again, I'm ignorant to know how it's treated. So it'll be fun to hear what comes next. So anyway.
Well, Peter, Dr. Neighbors, thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Steve, you mentioned, every time we tap into this, I have to ask myself, I just sit there and I'm baffled. Like, why? How is this not a thing? Like, I know I use this with my wife, with Kristen. I said, when I came home from No More Hygiene, I said, imagine my hand had this big pussy thing, like a wound. And she just kept putting a Band-Aid on it and saying, hey, you know what? We'll just look at it tomorrow and
scrub it.
And I'm like, that is what a crazy person would do. Yeah, to know it's pink and pussy and inflamed and bleeding and infected, we know what that means. Yeah. And so to not treat it is it's a crazy person. So
it's changing. It just takes education and awareness, but it is a whole different frame to really understand the difference between damage and cause. We've been looking at damage for years, decades, And now we got the tools to identify the cause and treat the cause, not
And
just the damage.
And maybe can you talk about treatment we don't have to dig into it, but treatment is available, right?
Oh, absolutely. It can be periodontal disease can be cured.
Very good. Awesome. Okay. We did good. We missed Lincoln Parker. We'll get him next time. It's okay. We'll bring him back. Thanks, Steve. Anything else before we wrap up?
So just a couple of things. One, we've referred to it, a couple of times today. If you have not logged on to crowncouncil.com and seen all the resources, we've done a lot of work there, continue to do a lot of work to build all the resources that are on the site. You'll see a lot of new things, and every member of the team can have their own login so that they have access to all those resources like the ones that we've talked about today. So, and that whole area continues to grow. So get the whole team involved. It's, just a lot of the tools we have to help build the culture of success in your practice. And that is the place where we house those. So you have easy access to them. So make it work. And as we go into the final 2 weeks of the Smiles for Life whitening campaign, pour it on.
Let's go.
Being some just amazing things, and appreciate everybody's engagement in that and making a difference. Doing good together.
A lot of it. Cool. All right, Steve. Thanks so much. Thanks for
Rick.
joining. It's great to be with everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks.